Hey everybody, Jake Alexander here, coming to you with an episode of Cool Shit You Can Deduct. And normally we're talking about taxes, writing off yachts, RVs, trips to Italy, and all kinds of cool stuff like that. But today I've got Kris Dehnert here, and this guy has an incredible story. I secretly wish, I could come work with this guy and not do taxes for a living and stuff like that. But this is the closest that we could get there. So, Kris, welcome. How are you doing today, sir?
Awesome day. I appreciate y'all having me. We can certainly talk about taxes. There's plenty. I got to figure out as more places I can hide or not hide the money, the better will be, bro.
Slow down, there you go.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. We'll jump into some of that stuff, but I want to just tell a little bit about your story, man. The company you've created, the culture, and even just asking you how you're doing. You specifically said I'm having an awesome day. It just seems like your overall attitude is just really incredible and really positive. And so I want to talk about that a little bit, how that translates into business. And I'm sure we'll cover a lot of cool stuff here. So tell us a little bit about the company.
Well, I want to touch on a point you just made. I think how you do anything is how you do everything, right?
Okay.
So to be positive and to be optimistic and to be chill and enjoy yourself and enjoy the people around you, because we're all standing in this big line and we never know when it's our turn to step out of this line. And which is part of the reason I have a perspective like I do, is because of what I went through all them, years ago. And so everything now is just kind of lifestyle by design. And it sounds kind of cheesy and cliche, but just wake up and make it a great day, right? Some days suck. I'm not unrealistic, but you just gotta roll with it. And when those days suck, say, I'm done here. I'll do this again tomorrow, and I'm going to go do something that brings me back into my happy place, so that's important. But now what I do is just an extension of who I am. We have a company called DugOut Mugs. I've had a handful of companies along the way, but what I'm currently doing, what I've been doing for about 5 years now, is something called DugOut Mugs, where we just take barrels of baseball bats and we hollow them out and we turn them into some pretty damn cool mugs. And I'm pretty partial, so of course I'll think they're cool, but we also have 300,000 customers and 31,000 5-star reviews, and we're in 7 countries in every state. So I think a lot of other people are kind of agreeing with us that what we do is pretty cool. And we just run the company like we did on day one, a few more people and a little more money to do it. But it's just, it's like a locker room, man. It's really cool. Everybody hangs out. They know one another. They jump in. It's a lot of camaraderie, teamwork, competition. And when the wrong people come in, they're quickly invited to leave. And I mean, they're forced out by the tribe that we built, you know what I mean? So culture is important with business for sure. We built a hell of a cool one, I think.
So I was chuckling a little bit when you said chill there. So we went this weekend, we bought a travel trailer camper thing. I think I sent you a picture of it actually.
Yeah.
And, we actually did an episode. I'm so proud of my wife because she bought that under a business. We actually deducted the whole thing. But that's a whole different story. And, so I'm there on this weekend and I'm with my 2 kids. I'm with my wife and I'm like, this is supposed to be fun. We're supposed to be having a good time. And I'm kind of just in my own head about things, that didn't get done at the business. And I'm being a little short and I caught myself. I'm like, I got to chill. The whole reason I'm working so hard is so I can enjoy this stuff. And every conversation I've had with you is you really live that stuff. It's not kind of like you said, it can come across as cliche or cheesy, but it exudes out of you of no, I'm not going to be stressed. I'm not going to let that shit bother me. I'm in control of how I'm feeling. And that's just totally awesome to me,
Yeah. And I do it for me first, and then for my family, and then hopefully to inspire other people, man. I've lived a lot of crazy, cool adventures and business ventures, and I've helped a lot of people. And it's I to an extent, I'm an influencer of some sort, right? And it's well, if I'm influencing others, especially my children, my family, my friends, and things like that, I'm going to sure as hell do whatever I can to be unapologetically authentic, as we like to say. And that just means, live the truth. And if you don't like me, it's okay. I don't care. I sure as hell don't care. But it's like, it's authentic, you know. And I think in a world like we live in now, with all this chaos and just BS everywhere with politics, who cares what side you're on? They all suck. It's like, you know, being authentic is rare, and people gravitate towards it. And they're like, oh my God, they found the flower in the desert. They're like, this is that thing I've been looking for that makes me realize that, you know, I can be different and be out loud about it. And anyway, you know what I'm saying, man. Like,
Yeah.
I think being unapologetically authentic is a superpower of ours, especially at DugOut Mugs.
So how do you balance that in the beginning? Like you kind of said, you know, you've done multiple companies, you've been very successful, and I'm sure there's people out there who are like, yeah, this guy, like, he has this huge company, of course he can be himself. But you know, how do I do it when I'm Jake starting this tax business and I want everyone to like me? You know, where's the balance with that kind of stuff? So,
Well,
or
I
I feel,
think
or
it's
you know, I feel maybe.
it's perspective, right? Like, it's really comes down to perspective. I would have gotten to where I am now, and I'm nowhere near where I'm going to end up, which is, you know, again, you want a nice cliche. It's like, success is the journey, right? It's not the destination. And those who sacrifice the enjoyment and reflection of the journey to get to where they think they're supposed to go, like, you miss the point, man. And if I would have grasped that sooner, and if I, just like you said, I'm Jake starting a tax company and I want everybody to like me. It ain't about everybody, man. You need to impact and influence and attract those who you mesh well with, right? And that's the thing, is you can't be everything to everybody, because you lose who you are, number one. And
Yeah.
that's hard as shit to get back. And it's like, if you just are you, it might think like, oh, that would have been a great client. Well, no, it wouldn't. You know, I tell people all the time, it's like, there's going to be bad days, but if you're doing business with good people, those bad days don't suck, right? On good days with bad people, that can still suck. So it's like, it's about getting a sphere of influence and a sphere of clients and people in and around you that know you, like you, trust you, think like you think, you know, and do business that way. Because when I got sick about 7 years ago, you know, I was so busy, being so busy with my restaurant and my apparel company, and I was in the cannabis space, and I was in all this stuff. I was just busy.
Mm-hmm.
And I literally ruptured my appendix on the way to or from a meeting, and I just didn't go to the hospital because I had to go to the Stanley Cup game the next night.
You just still went to the meeting and then still went
I
to
still
the.
went to the meeting. I had my buddy's Ferrari I was borrowing because I had to look like a big shot. And I was like, well, I can't leave his car here and go to the hospital. Someone will steal the damn thing. So that's not important. So let me get home. And a week later, when I went into the hospital, like, bro, you should have been dead days ago. Somehow divine intervention stepped in and you're still here. There's a reason. And what I did is I found myself laying there in that hospital for a few days. Nobody around me, because my wife had this new baby I've never met, really, you know, at home, 6 months old, my daughter.
Because you're working so much and so busy.
Yeah, well, I was prioritizing all the wrong things. And what I found is that I'm laying there cursing all these people. I was like, I am not going to die with so-and-so thinking I like them. They're an asshole and I don't want to do business with them. So I had to call and let them know, or email them and let them know. And what happened is I spent all this time being all these things to all these people to try to build up what I believed success should look like. And then when it came down to it, it's like, oh, wait a minute. I wasn't being authentic to me, to them, to my family. I wasn't making the most important things the most important things. And so really, how do I balance it? I don't really look at it like it's how do I balance it? And it's really about, I wish I would have figured this shit out sooner, because I would have had more time, of which we don't know how much we have anyway. I would have had more time to be, it's more fulfilling to live authentic, you know, and to be authentic in your relationships, in business relationships. And I don't even believe in work-life balance, to be honest with you. I think it's all life. And sometimes you're working and sometimes you're playing, and sometimes you get to do both if you plan it correctly. And it's like, I wish I would have figured it out sooner. It really wasn't a balancing act. It was just timing. And it took I'm a hard-headed dude. So like, it took a real punch to the gut to to
Took
get
you
there.
almost dying to convey that to you properly.
Right.
That's incredible, man. And so for somebody who, you know, I don't want to say is not fortunate enough to have this near death experience, like, is this something?
Take my word for it.
You know,
Yeah.
I'm not fortunate enough to have that myself, but I'm intrigued by this stuff. You know, it's, as entrepreneurs, we're building businesses. We always got these new ideas. We always have, you know, new things going on. It's the new hottest, best thing or whatever. And for what you're saying, it's really, there's no work-life balance. It's just like, figure out how to make your life work the way you want it to, you know?
It's a lifestyle by design. How much do you want to work? Because you're always going to sacrifice something, right? You're going to sacrifice time to get more money, or you're going to sacrifice money to get more experiences, or it's a give and take. And it's not like, oh, I've worked enough, it's time to shut it down. It's like, you know, and if for me, right, and that's what works for me, and it's a relationship. It's a relationship with my life. And you know, I get to work, I get to play, I get to experience, I get to meet people, I get to be authentic, I get to tell people I don't like you at all, and there's no consequences. Like, for me, it's a relationship of my life, and I basically get to finally, you know, over the last probably 7 years, you know, just really kind of get in that groove. And it's fulfilling. And sometimes it can get hard, and sometimes it can, you know, cost you money, and but you never regret it, any of it. Or you do, you know what I mean? It's like not one of these things like you walk out of a meeting like, God, I don't like that guy. Wish I could have told
don't
him.
want to do this deal because they're going to be a pain in the ass to work with.
Right.
Like, you're already not looking forward to it, you know?
Yeah.
That's crazy. And so this company, I mean, the life, I could just talk about the life stuff the whole time, but I'm intrigued about the company too. So DugOut Mugs, you have a partner named Randall, right?
Mm-hmm.
And was he was an ex baseball player, or what? Give us a little bit of that.
He pitched in the Blue Jays organization. He was a minor leaguer. You know, he was on his way to the bigs. He got pretty damn close, actually, but he just wasn't good enough, right? And then he got cut back in, oh gosh, I don't even remember the detail. Maybe the 12, 13, somewhere in there. Anyway, then he got back into coaching, and he just wanted to stay close to the game. And he had this idea when he saw somebody cutting bats in half in a dugout to make a hitting drill, an apparatus for a hitting drill. And he picked up the barrels. He's like, I bet I can drink from that. And, you know, stored the idea away. And then the creative juices got into him, and he wanted to start working at an agency, you know, learning marketing. And he was working at a paint store, and he was saving up money and trying to figure out this idea and drilling them out. And, you know, floundering as a solopreneur with no experience in a space would flounder. Did a hell of a job and brought this idea to fruition of sorts. Sold probably 1,000 of them, I think, somewhere, you know, 1,000 or 1,500 of them, just figuring it out on Facebook, figuring it out belly to belly, talking to people.
Is he like making them in his garage at this point? Or, I mean,
his kitchen sink. There was a chop saw in his kitchen sink, and his sister had like a little shed garage thing in her backyard, and that's where he was living on ramen noodles and shit. It's crazy.
I love that.
Yeah, it's one of those just stories. And, you know, he came to me, and I was in a place in my life fresh out of that, you know, not too far out of the sickness I had, maybe a year out from that. And maybe less than that, actually. I'd have to look at the timeline, but I was like, man, God, put somebody in my path that needs my skill set, that'll grind like I grind, that won't take, I mean, I'm sitting in my home right now. I work from home. My wife doesn't work. I play with my kids in the pool every day. Like, you know, I wanted to, there's certain metrics that I needed to hit, and goals I needed to hit, and check boxes I needed to check. And this kid came out of left field. Hey man, I got an idea. I want to pick your brain. It's like, well, that's kind of dumb, but I'm at this meeting, and come meet me. I'm at the bar. I'm taking a break. And he's like, all right, well, I'll be in town. And he popped in, brought me, this is the mug right here. This is the first one he brought me.
Oh, that's like the original.
The one. And he's like, I was going to the Tebow. I had a thing at the Tebow tournament up in North Florida. And he's like, just carry it with you. See what happens. So I was carrying it, and John Smoltz signed it like that first day. And everybody loved it. And I was like, well, this crazy kid came up with this thing. I said, well, maybe this was God putting somebody in my path that I asked for. And I said, okay, man, listen, you got to quit your job. You know, he had a decent job with the Sherwin-Williams or something.
Oh, so
And
he was working and just doing this on the
on the
side,
side,
basically.
yeah, side
Okay.
hustle after he got off work.
But he
And
came and found you, you said though, right?
yeah, yeah, he found some article and some stuff because I mean I'm 5 businesses in by the time he ran into me, and it's like, well, I have a background in ecom, and you got a cool idea, maybe let's look. And then we threw some ideas around, and in 2017 New Year's Day we decided to ink a deal and get to work. In that first year we did a 1.1 million, 1.2 million or something like that.
That's
And
incredible.
we've almost doubled or more, like for the first 5 years, with the exception of last year. We slowed down a little bit. We still hit 13.5 million last year. But we turned off the gas pretty hard. Facebook's doing all kinds of funky stuff, so we didn't feel like burning up money. So otherwise we were probably on track to hit like 15, 18, something like that. Yeah. So now we pivoted a little bit, and it's like, well, we built a really cool toy over the last 5 years with a ton of respect in the industry. We're one of the fastest growing licensees in decades at Major League Baseball. Very well received products. So we started letting other people sell it. And this year alone, Dick's, Fanatics, Pro Image, Rally House, Home Goods, and Macy's and Nordstrom's, and that's crazy. So we're going to start going into the retail side of things and have kind of like a two-headed dragon. We know what we're doing online, and we're going to let them handle all the branding and distribution and see what happens.
Inventory and all that crap too, right?
Mm-hmm.
That is absolutely incredible. And so, like, talk to me a little bit about, so, and I'm sure we get it all the time now, like, man, Jake, you're really lucky that thing worked out. You know, it all came together for you. Like, do you guys hear that kind of stuff? You know, when people aren't considering the years of development that went into it on your side, you know, then Randall, like you said, he's making them at his kitchen sink and in the backyard and that kind of stuff. You know, walk me through that a little bit.
Yeah, we don't really lose track of that too much, but I know people can only see from the seat they're sitting in, right, on the bus. And yeah, sometimes it takes 10 years to be an overnight success, as they say. But yeah, I got a lot of bruises and broken noses and walls I've ran into over the decade before this, learning about e-commerce and learning about everything. I started in 2008 with being an entrepreneur. And yeah, I mean, people will say that like, oh, what a simple idea. Wish I would have thought of that. Well, yeah, I bet you do. You probably thought of something just as crazy, but you never went through with it. It's like everyone's gonna think I'm stupid. Which again, when you really find your truth, it really doesn't matter what somebody else will say or think. Yeah, give it a shot. What's the worst that can happen?
Well, even you said too, when he first brought the idea to you, you thought in your head like, that's kind of stupid, but if you want to come meet me, that's hilarious.
I did. I told him, I said, that's kind of dumb. I said, but you know, I also didn't shut the idea off. He's like, hey man, he believed in it. He's like, carry it around. Tell me what you think.
Yeah. And so stuff like that, I'm so infatuated with, of like, you know, what if that meeting didn't happen, or what if you told him it was dumb and he said, you know what, you're right. Like the whole idea could have been squashed and buried from there. And so you guys, you know, you're doing 10 million plus in sales. Like you guys probably have how many employees, you know, 50, 60 employees?
On our team, we have any given day, maybe 50. Peak times, it gets up to like 70 maybe. But there's a lot of components. I mean, these are the woods coming in from Quebec City, Canada. It's drilled out. It's stored here in Florida. Everything is then hand sanded, hand dipped, laser engraved, hand cleaned. So there's a lot of moving pieces. Our fulfillment team, and we recently got our stainless mugs that look like
look at that.
Yeah, they look like an aluminum bat.
That's awesome.
So we got that new component in there. We got the shot glasses and bottle openers made out of the bat handles, and there's a team that handles like just the marketing and emails and customer service. So it's to get over $10 million in sales.
It's a big deal.
It's easy to say, but to do it, and especially in a world like manufacturing, there's a lot of moving pieces, man.
So to me, I just think of like the impact, you know. So if you would have told Randall, hey, that's a dumb idea, he'd have been like, you know, you're right, Kris, what was I thinking? So there's 50 plus employees, all these other vendors in different countries. It's just like this impact goes and goes. It's like the ripple effect, stuff like that's really
Yeah.
intriguing to me.
Well, and again, what we've done is, in his mind, it was always, at least in the beginning, the very beginning. Like, mind you, I had a vision that was much more detailed and diverse than his ever could have been to that point, because I had done different things to that already. But what we saw, I think he saw the product, I saw the opportunity to grow and build a tribe. His passion and the passion around baseball, it allowed us to build a tribe. So, I mean, we have a few 100,000 customers at this point. And with that kind of pull, when COVID hit, I don't even remember what year it was. We weren't paying attention. The 20, I think it was 20 or Q2 or Q1 or 2 in 2020. And we're like, uh-oh. And they were like, oh, never mind. Let's just keep getting to work. And what happened is we grew by like 240% that year.
Wow.
Big growth. And because we leaned into our tribe, we had all these people, they're all stuck at home. So it's like, man, let's be cool. We're consistent without a doubt. You know this, you know me.
Yep.
We're consistent. And it's like, let's get Pete Rose on here, maybe Mariano or Griffey or Pudge Rodriguez, and let's just talk baseball for an hour or two. Let's see if Pete wants to narrate the World Series with us, which he did for a couple hours. I get to hang out with Pete Rose online and talk baseball.
That's awesome.
And we just gave it to everybody for free. We gave away like $20,000 worth of mugs. We gave away TVs. We gave away beer money. Everybody's stuck at home. So enjoy yourself. Go buy some beer. Here's a TV. Here's a mug. You can't afford one. Things got tight. Here, pay us later. We'll just send it to you now. Like we really went in. We gave away, these are $30 a piece, our shot glasses. We gave away like 55,000 of them.
55,000?
55,000, because we're like, hey, just cover shipping and handling, which covers costs and just basic shit. So it was a loss leader, but we picked up a customer. We didn't lose any money. They got something cool. Well, guess what happens when you have 55,000 new people to talk to? They like you. And the relationship was started the right way, which is super important inside and outside of business. Yeah. Always give first, and now we have all these people. It's like, hey, we got something cool. You guys ought to check this out. Boom, $75,000 we make in a day. When we rolled out our new stainless mugs, we did over $1 million in the first 90 days. Just rolling it out to our list. Say, hey, remember us? Remember that cool stuff we make? You trust us, right? Buy this thing. And bam. So it's really a mutually beneficial relationship that, and we've done that on purpose.
That's incredible, man. So I think, a question that comes to mind of, the business continues to grow. Obviously you're very well balanced, and, how involved you are in the day-to-day and stress levels, it sounds like, does that cap out at like 20 million or 50 million? Does the company get so big that it takes over, or is this
it becomes big enough that it's uncomfortable, right? So it really is it's a level of comfortability. And there's one of the things I love to say, and you might have heard me say it before, it's more important to know what you won't stand for as important as to know what you will, right? Like a version of that. You've heard me ramble, I'm sure.
Yep.
But what I mean by that is, at some point, I know that the things I won't stand for is taking time and energy away from my family, and my two little girls in particular. My wife gets to go on this ride with me already, and we've been together 17 years. So, she's been watching this whole shit show develop for a long time. But my girls you only have these moments, So, and at the point where it starts taking away that time is the time where it's uncomfortable. But now, in fact, I'm probably working about 15 hours a week right now. And I don't say that boastfully, like, look what I can do, right? What it is, and this is a super important piece. Only do what you're best at, right? Do what you do best, outsource the rest. Whether it's to someone internally in your organization, just allocate things and learn how to protect your time, because my schedule stays extremely open so that when opportunities present themselves, I'm on it, right? Someone's like, hey, can you make it to West Palm Beach? We got this specific thing with the governor. I'm like, all right, I'll be there tomorrow. Right. So I don't have all these things tying me up. And I only do the things that I'm best at. And that is high level conversations, closing big deals, networking with celebrities and influencers. Like that's what I do best. Those are my elements. So to get neck deep in, I was doing a big report for like past 3 years and projections 3 years. I sent one email and I'm like, hey, I need to know my last 3 years of sales and my next 3, what they're going to look like. Just tag me just email me when you have that done. And I walked into the gym, right, to go work out and feel better about, just myself. Probably had too many beers this weekend. So the point is it's like, really understand what your power zone is and live there as often as you can every day. And time becomes really efficient and your schedule becomes open. And then you get to choose, which is something most people don't get, right? And they get to choose what I'm going to do with this time. Do I put it more over here into work to achieve X, Y, and Z? Or do I choose to go to a soccer game I went to a spring training game with my daughter, took her out to the thing, ate popcorn, throw ball around, whatever, so you get to choose. But so we'll sell the company or we will stall the company when it gets to a point where it starts sacrificing the things that are non-negotiable.
I love that. No, that's awesome, man. And so where do we get these? At DugOutMugs.com?
Yep, DugOutMugs.com. I'm on LinkedIn. I kind of waved the white flag many years ago on social media, so you won't find me there. You will find me on LinkedIn because I love business. I love business people. I love opportunistic, atmosphere. And I find a lot of fulfillment there. I've helped a lot of people there. A lot of people have helped me there. So that's where you can find me. DugOut Mugs. It's at this point, it's such a blessing. It's kind of hard not to find us. So if you do some looking around, you'll find out what we got going on.
If you're watching this podcast, the algorithm will find you afterwards and put it on. No, I love it, man. And so we're gonna buy some too. So can we get some with the cool shit you can deduct logo on them? Yeah,
you can give them to your guests, the guests that come on the podcast, or anybody that brings an idea. Like let's come up with something cool that we can deduct that I haven't thought about yet. And if you can stump me, then you get a mug or something like that.
That's perfect. I love that. So any creative tax strategies that Kris doesn't already know about, we will post it on a mug and ship it to you. And I'm going to buy some with the cool shit you can deduct logo on there. You can go to our website, which will be in the link, coolshitYouCanDeduct.com. Reach out to Kris on LinkedIn. Go check out DugOut Mugs. Kris, I can't thank you enough. This is part of this is me just being selfish and wanting to learn this stuff myself, but we get to record it and put it out to our guests and all that stuff too. So everybody loves the content, I'm sure. But
yeah, man.
Thank you so much,
Each one teach one, right?
There you go.
Learn something from everybody.
Exactly. It's all about giving back. So all right, cool, man. I can't thank you enough. I'm going to cut you guys loose. We'll talk to you next time on Cool Shit You Can Deduct.
See you.
Hey everybody, if you enjoyed this show as much as we did, go ahead and like and comment below, ring that bell, and put in those comments. Tell us what your favorite part of today's show was. Can't thank you enough. We appreciate you being part of our group here. So thank you so much.